Alright, we are recording, and the game hooked in properly, this time with OBS. It is Going Medieval. Key was visually provided by Tinsley PR for the Irregular Corporation. And there was not a lot of game news this week. It was kind of weird. Most of the news was like non-game stuff for me. For what I was writing up. And one things though, it's like, yes, my faith has been rewarded. Although it only made sense that Threadripper would return. I'm sorry, it really did. I don't think that it ever made sense, the people saying that Threadripper non-pro was dead. I don't think that ever made sense. Because there is a market for HEDT. It's just a small market. It's just a small market. But it is coming, yay. AMD announced, what the heck? Uh-oh. That's weird. Okay, I guess that was just the game. Because I had to restart the computer for Windows updates, I'm a little concerned, because sometimes it depends on booting up if the computer's gonna hard lock or something while recording. Yeah, why did none of this get collected? Like, I legitimately just don't know. You know what? Is that right? Yeah, I'm just gonna do it that way. Anyhow, so yes, AMD has announced Ryzen 7000 series Threadripper Pro and Threadripper CPUs. And they are coming to DIY as well, so you can purchase them. They only gave the pricing for the non-pro, which I'm okay with. But they will both be coming to retail. So retail as in like Amazon Newegg, so you can build a system around them. That is coming for both of them. And that, did I make a note? I didn't write it down. I want to say it was like November 21st, something like that. But it is next month. Okay, and there will also be other OEMs and system integrators that will be able to build on them. But it's like, yes. So just as some explanation background for that. So I am using a Threadripper 1950X, which is going to come up later. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Having 16 cores like that. And I know that, you know, you can get 16 cores in the consumer platforms. But it's wonderful because like I'm playing the game and recording using the CPU. I'm not offloading to the GPU. I'm using X264, so at the same bitrate, I should be getting a better quality image than if I were using any of the accelerators out there. And it's just I love it. I think that's awesome. It's also nice having a huge number of PCIe lanes and also memory bandwidth because it's a quad-channel system. Boy, there are a lot of trees around here now. And AMD did... That was the 1950X, so 1000 series. They did a 2000 series. Yeah, they did a 3000 series as well, I think, didn't they? 5000 was weird, though. 5000 they eventually did, but I think it was only Pro. But some context there that I think a lot of people, when trying to say that, oh, Threadripper's abandoned... What I think a lot of those people forget one way or another, for one reason or another, is that at the time Threadripper 5000 series Threadripper would have come out was also a time when AMD, well, when the whole world had the supply constraints. So AMD had to prioritize where its parts were going. They could go to, actually, I kind of like that. You turn that one off. Wait, actually, no, turn them all off. I don't think I need any of them on. Yeah. They could, like, put the core dies, the compute dies, to Ryzen, the consumer parts that sell. They could put them to, Billy the cow eats that? To Epic, that makes them orders of magnitude more money. Or they could you try to put also Threadripper Pro, which is workstation, and then there's Threadripper. It's like Threadripper was always going to be a smaller market. HEDT is a smaller market than consumer, then server, and then workstation even. It's like that's just always been the case. So if you're gonna see things constrained, it just makes sense to me then that, yeah, that's what you would limit then. And so now that a lot of those concerns have been dealt with, hey, we got them now. They're coming back. It's awesome. I'm so happy. But yeah, so Ryzen 7000 Threadripper, Zen 4 cores, 24, 32, and 64 core versions. And I do have those specs written out. So let's start at the top and work our way down. There's a reason why I want to do that. That we'll get to. The 7980X is... Oh, I wrote that wrong. Is 64 core. I put 84 core in my notes. I know that's not right. It's 64 core. 3.2 gigahertz base, 5.1 gigahertz boost, $5,000. Okay, $499.9. $999. However you want to compose that term. Compose that word. The 7970X is 32 cores, just 4 gigahertz, 4.0 gigahertz base, 5.3 gigahertz boost for $2,500. So 32, 64 cores, it's a double the price, double the cost. And then the 7960X is the 24 core with a 4.2 gigahertz boost, 4.2 gigahertz base, 5.3 gigahertz boost, $1,500. Now I want to focus on that one specifically, in part because that's the one that I would actually purchase. I'm not purchasing these. I want to wait for Zen 5 because that'll also let them work out any teething issues with this new Threadripper platform. I don't remember it. Actually, no, hang on. I feel like I made a note, and I know I'm getting so distracted. No, that's not it. I'm trying to find the notes. Ah, there. Nope. The note there isn't relevant. But yeah, so the 24 core is what I would go to, most likely. And I've been saying that for a while, that when they bring back, although I want to wait for 8000 series teething, platform teething issues being dealt with. I just realized something. Do I have enough window close? Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because like this is what I have right now, 16 cores, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I have them clocked at overclocked to 3.7 gigahertz. And by the way, all the Threadrippers do support overclocking, even the WX, even the workstation ones. Overclocking is supported. OEM systems will not support overclocking though, so there is that limitation. But just generally speaking, though, no, they all support overclocking otherwise. So yeah, the 24 core, that's what I would go to. I've been saying that for a while. That's what I would use as an upgrade. Because that's a decent increase in cores from what I have now. But it's also, there can be a lot more. Seriously, what is wrong with this dog? It just refuses to eat. Anyway, you know what? Hang on, can I keep training? No, I can't. I'm sorry, one issue with doing this stuff while playing games is the game does distract me. It's a nice increase in core count going to 24 core. But it's also, they're going to be faster cores. The i950X is clocked at 3.7 gigahertz. That was that's what I have it overclocked to, and it is the all-core boost for the 1950X with 3.7 gigahertz. That's why I just have it set to that fixed. The boost, I think, was 4.1 or 4.2 gigahertz for like single core. So this, with a base starting at 4.2, so that's an all-core base clock of 4.2 gigahertz. That's nice. And it's also much higher IPC because it's so many generations newer, faster memory because they're all DDR5. I mean, it's like, it will be quite a bit faster. But what I really like, and I think, for anyone like, oh man, $1,500, that's ridiculous. It's like, that is 50% more than what I paid for the 1950X. Because it was $1,000 and I paid it. I'm happy with it. But 50% more than that for 50% more cores, and they're all better cores. I would say that in my perspective, that's actually really nice. The motherboards are going to be crap as far as pricing. I do fear that. But as far as the pricing of at least that one, I can't complain. I think that's entirely reasonable. Well, no, not even reasonable. I think that is actually a very fair price. All things considered, though I will admit, I wish it were cheaper. I do wish that. With the context of, I wish it weren't just, the cores are, like, the price to core, per core, at least for 950X to the 7960X, I wish that the price to core improved, and not just the core improved. So it's like, more bang for your buck, but technically you're buying the same amount of cores there, and it's like, that's, that would have been nice, but I mean, I can't complain where it is at. It's fair. The 32 core, I mean, that is off the mark then, because that's double the price for double the cores, but it's an extra 500 on top. So, but no, it's some motherboards I worry more about. Legitimately, that is more so my concern, because some of those motherboards will probably end up being like $1,000. It's like what I have now, the Asus Zenith Extreme, the original one. Not the Alpha. I think that's what they called the refresh of it. Anyway, I want to say that was $500. And these are probably going to be $1,000 motherboards. And I know there are some reasons for motherboards to have increased in price. But my understanding is that a lot of motherboards are more expensive because they can be. It's not that the motherboards are worth hundreds of dollars more than they used to be years ago. It's that they are just, hey, we can charge more, so people are. Well, companies are, I should say. But to be fair, I mean, it is like there's two different platforms. Hang on. No, I didn't write it down for it's like WX90 is the workstation targeting board. That thing offers up to 128 PCIe 5 lanes, and I think it's 188 total lanes usable. So the difference is 60 lane difference is PCIe 4. For the TRX 50. Yeah, the TRX 50 platform. This is the one that is actually for the non-pro Threadrippers. Very much so, because the other doesn't even support them. The socket is the same between these, but it physically, well, no, not physically. There might be physical support, but it isn't actually going to support the other Threadrippers. Here. Where is she? Ah, there she. There. What do we got? What is with... Oh. They're coloring. Could use some mechanical components, but I don't think there's anything requiring that soon. Oh, I got plenty of... No, I don't quite. Well, no, these are the ones that are in the thing, though, so, okay. Yeah, there's nothing there. Those are the ones that are in the stockpile, so if they're wearing it, it's fine. Anyway. The TRX 50 platform, that actually will run the Threadripper Non-Pro. The other platform won't. The socket is identical between them, because you can actually put the Pro Threadrippers in either platform. But it's only the one that supports the non-Pro Threadrippers. And it also is only quad-channel memory, whereas the workstation level is octa-channel, so 8 channels of memory, supporting up to 2 terabytes. The TRX 50 supports up to 1 terabyte of RAM. And it has 88 usable PCIe lanes. I think it was up to 48? Yeah. Yes, up to 48 of them can be PCIe 5. Now coming to why things are so expensive. PCIe 5 is inherently more expensive than every previous PCIe connection. And the reason for that is because PCIe 5 isn't binary. It actually uses quaternary. I think that's correct. Instead of there being 2 electrical states for storing data, there's 4. It's a PAM, or is it QAM? I don't remember now. But it's actually a method that's existed for a while, but it was a way for PCIe SIG to double the bandwidth. But the thing is that because there's 4 electrical states now, there's greater risk of interference. So you need better conductors and such in there, which is also part of the reason why I'm actually not even sure if there's a single PCIe 5 supporting motherboard at the moment that isn't like a data center targeting one, a consumer targeting one, where the bottom PCIe slot is not PCIe 4. I don't think there's one that, and I mean like a full-size ATX, where the bottom one would actually be PCIe 5. That probably wouldn't be, because you need some kind of repeater to overcome the interference that happens just due to... I'm sorry, that's just funny. Kalina's not a friend with Kalina anymore. Anyway. But yeah, so it's like they do need to get better and better at maintaining the signals in the motherboards. So it's like there is that concern there. And that does mean having to increase costs. But at the same time, $500 for the Zenith Extreme to potentially $1,000 for a TRX 50 in, what, 6-7 years? I actually don't remember. I don't care. I love the thing. But it's like, I mean, it's like, I want to do so much with this system when I upgrade. I'm going to put in so many hard drives and such, so many NVMe. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, but it is just the whole, my brain keeps partially switching off. I don't think I've been sleeping that well of late, but anyway, it is just, I think that some of it is being taken advantage of. Some of the motherboard pricing is being taken advantage of, but there are also legitimate reasons for greater costs. Just trying to think if there's anything else to mention concerning that. Not really, just I'm happy to see it, and I am looking forward to... How did bread decompose? Where the hell did I even get bread? I'm legitimately confused by that. I don't know where I got bread. Yeah, and it still is. There's nothing that tells you what that is. Maybe it's just something where when winter hits, you can build up a stockpile of ice. Alright. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to mention with further stuff. I don't think so. I mean, just as I said, if I were going to upgrade shortly, it would be the 7960X. I'm not going to, though. This is still working great. I don't have the space, because I would want to do something with this computer. I don't know where I'd put it, and just a completely new build, and plus I'd want to run them in parallel for a while, so I move over gradually. No, I mean, it's gonna wait. Plus, I put in that order for the Framework 16 laptop, and that still hasn't shipped or anything yet. So, yeah, it's like I don't need to be spending money anytime soon. It's not significant money like that. Alright, so what else have I got? I got a thing from MIT that was pretty neat. I'll save that for last, though, and talk about the new... Sorry, I keep on saying new on Epic. Now on Epic program that the Epic Games Store announced this week. That is interesting. I don't necessarily. I saw one place kind of mocking it as far as Epic just had to lay off all these people because they weren't making enough money, and now they're doing this. It's not giving money away, it's just they're not going to be making as much money for it a little bit. Where basically what Epic has decided to do for this program is developers and publishers that have a back catalog as of October 31st, so a game that's come out prior to October 31st, so a little bit longer from today. If they bring them to Epic, they can actually get for the first 6 months 100% of the revenue, instead of it being the 88% to them, 12% to Epic. So this is definitely a move to try to grow Epic's catalog. To grow their library of games. I'm trying to hold down a burp. Sorry. Yeah, that's obviously what they're doing. Technically, that will cost them some money, but obviously the hope is to drive such interest that it supports them in other ways. It's only for 6 months, and it also ends June 31st, 2025. Is when that program ends. But it will be interesting to see who all may take advantage of it. I could believe that a number of places won't, just as a we don't need to kind of thing. But there might also be some where it's like, hell yeah, if I can get so much more money, I'll take it. And just bring it over there. So I mean, it's probably not that different from their the giveaway. How they've been doing that, at least one game a week since it opened. Because what they're doing is they're just paying the developer a huge amount of money for all that. And then, it brings the developer there, it begins that relationship there. So now future games will probably be there. I mean, it's all game to try to get more developers to put games on there and people to come and buy there. And I can't fault them for that. It is just going to be interesting to see how this goes. How many developers, how many publishers may decide to do it. I can believe plenty won't. For one reason or another, I can believe that plenty won't. They still haven't. Oh, well, that complicates it. Fine. Oh yeah, I did put in leisure in the middle of the day, didn't I? But, sorry, my brain partially turned off. I don't know if I have anything more to say on now on Epic, to be honest, but yeah, it will be interesting to see. It will be very interesting to see who decides to take advantage of it and who doesn't. Well, no, it's who doesn't won't be interesting, it's just who does. I could also see a lot of indie developers choosing to do it. I could see that. Because I'm thinking, if 6 months of 100% revenue for an older title, title they already worked on, that I could see a lot being like, yeah, we'll do that. That could fund our next project. Well, maybe. It would also depend on the marketing that they can achieve to get people interested. Because, I mean, on the one hand, it's one of those new games that will get the most attention. But on the other hand, it's the classics that people love. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is true. It's the classics that endure, and many games have earned the title classic. So getting those to more places where more people can get it. It was like my brother. He doesn't have a Steam account. He doesn't want a Steam account, but he's got an Epic Games Store account. If this brought some games to the Epic Games Store that he would enjoy playing, but only on Steam, that would be good for him. So yeah, it's just how well will it work? And I am... well, at least that got built. Hey, and they actually mined a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna do that as well. I don't even know why I was doing that, aside from just... well, I think one of the things here does take salt. Whatever. It's not that big a deal. Salt doesn't go bad here, so it's not like it'll hurt any. And that's right, I did figure this out, didn't I? But I mean, most of this stuff is not even close to full, is it? Huh. That's a problem. How do you know when it's full? I mean, legitimately, look, there's no way to actually know. What's the stack here? I mean, it says 32. Is that a total stack? Is that a full up stack? It says 42. Is that a full stack? I don't know. It says the temperature is a problem down here. I mean, I see the 40 or 50 hit point stuff. I see that, but that doesn't really answer the question, does it? So I did actually want to do that. I mean, I can, so why not? Yeah, I got nothing more on the Epic thing. So the MIT thing is definitely interesting. It's early research into it, so no idea when anything may come of it. But they made an interesting discovery with graphene, where if you... oh, that's not good. Okay. J. I do remember this was a emergency type scenario. It was like you have to take care of it immediately. You do not want it spreading. Also looks blighted. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's just like, oh yeah, we'll do this first. It's like, you need to do this stuff that I'm telling you to do. What the hell are they doing? It sounds like they're doing construction. Oh, son of a bitch! Oh, I guess it would be harvesting then, not necessarily cutting. See, again, this is why they need to... The system, the job system is just such crap. And so confusing. Okay. This all looks fine then. Whew, this is not looking so fun. Come on. Guys, I gave you other things to do. Holy crap, though. Were all of these set to mature? Wow. Let me do that. And also, you know, one of you can keep it, but otherwise, no. Everybody is... We gotta take care of the blight. What are you thinking you're doing? No. Here's what's gonna happen. There. This should not be what I have to do. This should not even remotely be the thing I need to do. Okay? They should, because I told them to do this. And harvest is at the highest, cut is at the highest. Okay? This should not be I have to tell them to do shit. They should be doing this because they're just here. I mean, how much am I losing here just because there's only one person doing what they're supposed to be doing? And even then, that's only because I'm forcing her to do it. Okay. I think that's correct. And the blight is dealt with. I mean, this is so terrible. How that went is so terrible. I almost feel like I should just wipe it where it's like all of them are at 0 until it's like, okay, construction, 1. For one day, everybody just does construction. For one day, everybody does good. For one day, everybody does harvest and such. Because it's like, that is so beyond the pale of what should not be the behavior. I mean, it truly, there is 0 reason for it to do what it just did. I mean, fine, I get that this isn't the same thing. It shouldn't be. Chopping wood is very different from cutting plants. Alright? And it's like, you know, which is it? But cutting plants, that's what they need to do. But it's like, no, we're going to go do this. This thing that we weren't specifically told we need to do. These, I manually said, cut it. Didn't happen. But then it's also harvest crops from crop fields and cutting plants. I mean, it's like, yes, there was a difference between harvesting and cutting, but why is it separated like that? And holy crap, though. I mean, look at this. There's a reason I'm doing this. exploit. Oh, I can't. Okay. There. Job focus. Let's try this. Like, I'm legitimately curious. How effective might this be? Okay. Sure. Let's have them finish off that, and also cooking can be turned up. That's fine too. Note harvesting as well. So all those that are kind of related to each other. What are they doing? I'm gonna end up with too much food. The heck? The game has crashed. Okay. Well, that's fine. I don't really have more to say anyhow. Yeah, just close it. And I did just save too. Alright. Yeah, I didn't finish talking about the well, that's okay. I can just say that now. So basically what they found, okay, graphene, because I need to explain that. It's a atom-thick sheet of carbon. It looks like chicken wire because of how carbon atoms bind together in molecules. Has a lot of amazing properties, like is incredibly strong, but still flexible. And it has very high conductivity. Because it's something called Dirac cones. We don't need to get into that, but basically the energy cost for an electron moving is linear instead of exponential, which is what you see in most things. That might not be completely right, but it's not completely wrong either, based on my memory. Anyhow, because it is basically a 2D plane, it gets very interesting when you stack them on top of each other. What MIT was looking at was what happens if you have 5 layers of them, and it needed to be 5, and in a rhomboidal pattern. Basically, it means that the pattern traces out a diamond shape, a rhombus. What they found is when they did that, it became multiferroic. I know that's a little weird to say. But a ferroic material that's known to exist, and it explains that magnets are an example of that, permanent magnets, where there's some coordination between magnetism, magnetic characteristics, electric characteristics, and physical characteristics. So in a permanent magnet, I'm pretty sure that it would be the magnetic and physical properties are linked, where it causes all of the electrons to spin in a common direction. Okay, so it's, yeah. I don't think electric makes sense in that, but anyway. Those two are linked such that it produces a strong magnetic field in one direction, whereas normally in most materials, the electron spins are just random in any direction, so an electron is inherently magnetic, but if there's enough randomness, if there's enough chaos to the alignments, then you don't get magnetism to occur. It's only when they do align, that's when you get a strong magnetic field. A multiferroic material, there's an O in there. I'm not always saying that properly. In that's where you have multiple of those coordinations. So what they observed was you would have electrons lining up their orbits. So they would all orbit in the same direction. They likened it to planets, which is accurate for the solar system. Every planet is rotating in the same direction around the sun. There's reasons for that. But those reasons don't necessarily exist for electrons going around an atom. So this is very curious, but also they found it would have multiple valleys with a bias. So that's basically electrons fall into certain spots. It's a valley where it's a lower energy level, and electrons want to get to the lowest energy level they can. That's where they're most stable. It's their preference. It's more comfortable. It's a rest state, I guess would be another way to put it. And plenty of materials have multiple of these places. But normally, the electrons will just be like 50-50 or they're evenly divided between those valleys. What they found was it would actually have a bias towards one over the other. And they were only mentioning 2 valleys. So that's very curious as well. And both of these were found in there, so it's a multi-ferroic material because of these 2. But what else they found, this is very significant, was that they could influence both of these states with a simple magnetic field, a low-power magnetic field. So they're like, oh, this is potential for data storage. Because electric fields can be very easily and cheaply made, as in little energy. Less energy than like a hard drive has to use. But this would still be storing, could be used to store data, and actually 2 bits per spot, because there's 2 different states here that could be manipulated. So you could store it at very low power and at good density in a very, very small material. And we're talking literally 5 atoms thick. So yeah, I mean, it's like there's definite potential there. That's something for the far future, though. Well, not far, but it's like that would be years of development to potentially get this to a place that could be used for data storage, but it still shows significant promise. Both as far as maybe this material, but also, as I put in the write-up, any discovery, because there's a new discovery, they've not observed this before, will lead to more. So it's like graphene is as I recall, it is the first 2D material ever discovered. Okay? There are several now, because they've realized certain properties there, and also how to make some of them. And it all just does help. So there's like white graphene, which is boron nitride, which is quite different from normal graphene. Graphene is highly conductive. Boron nitride is actually a semiconductor. And there's others as well that get... Boron nitride is also flat. It is also 2D material. But there are others where it actually kind of zigzags, but it's still one layer thick. So it's... in some ways, it is still a 2D material because there's no additional layers, but it zigzags. And those have other properties, and they're made of different materials and such like that. It's like, once graphene was established, boom, whole bunch of stuff was discovered. And it's like, that's just the nature of science and discovery. So we might see more coming because of this. But it is also just neat because, I mean, it's magnetic data storage, which it really is. I get why people like flash memory for solid state and all that, and it is electric based instead of magnetic based. But the reality is, magnets are still better at this. I mean, think about the tremendous density of a hard drive. It's like, what is the actual limiting factor for a hard drive? Ignoring the fact that it's a mechanical system. So there is greater potential for wear and tear. Although I think I've had more, well, I'm not going to say it. Knock on wood, let's just leave it at that. But it's the fact that you can only have so many heads. Like, you have to physically move to find data off the disk. Level 1 Texas talked about, there's a place, I don't remember which company, if it's like Western Digital, Seagate or something, that actually have dual heads. So now instead of one head going around trying to pick data off the drive, there are 2. And so it allows you to double the throughput. That's really interesting and really awesome. And that helps address the issue. But it is also just, hard drives are still awesome because for serial stuff, like this recording right now is being serially written to a hard drive. Hard drives are perfect for that. There's no need to use flash for this. If I were doing special editing, need to randomly access, now would make sense. But it's still like a reason, like if I were to get more into video editing with a new computer based on, new Threadripper, all that, what would be reasonable is I have a hard drive that I record to. For the editing, I make like a proxy file, put that onto some SSD, whether it's an NVMe or a SATA drive, put it there, do all the editing based on that, the proxy file, then have it work off of the original. That would still be on the hard drive because, well, I'm just thinking now. There are, yes, nonlinear editors, you'd have to jump around. That would defeat the serial aspect to hard drives, although hard drives can still be so fast that isn't enough of an issue. So there's that. But I could also believe that it's still, that the actual encoding of the file, the processing of the file for the editing, I could see that still being serial. Unless you are jumping around a lot within the file or within multiple files. For me, it would probably always be one file. So I could see that potentially. I could see that being linear, so it would work great with a hard drive. But if you are jumping around, maybe not. But it still is. Like, the different data storage methods have different advantages and disadvantages. I can get a 20 terabyte hard drive. It's expensive, but I get a 20 terabyte hard drive. A 4 terabyte SSD, SATA SSD or NVMe SSD, it would be potentially the same price. So, yeah, I mean, it's... Well, no, 4 terabytes, I think 4 terabytes is still like $400 or $500 for a SSD. But for a hard drive, 4 terabytes, I mean, I think I spent like 70, maybe 60, 70, $80, something like that for the 6 terabyte that's in the server at the moment. So it's like a 10 terabyte. That would be like, I think those are actually about 120, 130, something like that. So I mean, it's, you know, there are advantages to both. There are also disadvantages to both. So it's using the right technology there. But with this thing that they were talking about, because it's based on an electric field, could actually be, well, it should be more efficient, energy efficient than a hard drive. But it's encoding magnetically, and that could easily allow it then to have a density comparable to a hard drive. And it's also just carbon. It's an exotic form of carbon, technically, making it kind of difficult to work with, to manufacture, but it's still there. It still is just carbon. But it is also, as I was saying, it might be a completely different material that is ultimately used for this stuff. Assuming it is used eventually. There have been a lot of technologies that have tremendous promise, should be used, and then aren't for whatever reason. Don't know if this would be the case there, but it's still, it's a discovery that could lead to some very interesting things. Alright, now I'm just thinking, is there anything else to mention? Nothing really coming to mind. Although one thing... Yeah, okay, because I actually do have a page up talking about the Threadripper stuff, and it is November 21st is when the CPUs will be available for purchase e-tail. And so then that's also when we should be seeing the motherboards and the pricing for that. But as I said, I could believe that those will be like and I think I've seen some stuff talking about it, that those will be $1,000, which is disappointing, but hopefully they will just be worth it. Oh yeah, I did also forget to mention that all of the Threadrippers, Pro and non-Pro, have the same TDP of 350 watts. And the thing I'm looking at is the Anandtech article. I don't remember where it was, where they were talking about the sockets, but that it does seem that the physical footprint of the socket is close enough to existing Threadripper sockets that existing coolers for Threadripper may still work. I don't remember what TDPs are for prior generations, though. So for new, like I have an Noctua Threadripper air cooler in this. I wouldn't want to reuse that, I think, even if it were physically compatible, because first gen Threadripper didn't have a terribly high TDP. I think it was like 250 watts. It actually was probably less, a lot less. I think it only goes up to 180 watts now that I think about it. So yeah, TDP of 350 is, I would want a bigger cooler. Now, hey, I like this cooler, don't get me wrong, but it is, it's basically one of the basic single towers with fans in front and back. That's basically what it is. I'd probably want to go to one of the, like, U2, the Noctua DHU, where it's got the 2 towers and potentially 3 fans. I'd probably want to go to that, but that would be me. You can do what you want. I mean, it's also, you know, just running a bit slower, even at 24 cores. Yeah, 24 cores running at the 4.2 gigahertz base is still really fast and powerful. Like what I just did where I was playing the game and recording. Now, true, I'm recording at 1080p and I'm using... Let me actually look. Will it let me? I think it will. Medium? I'm using X264 Medium, okay? And it's like, it very rarely gives me a problem for doing these streams. when I do full recordings, I think I use fast or very fast, but the quality is really good. But it's like, this is all working fine. So 20, and it would be faster, higher IPC, faster clock speed, higher IPC, and more cores. Yeah, I could see cutting it down to like 200 watts, and it would still give you so much performance. So now I actually now I'm wondering if anyone's going to do that. I hope, because I'm sure there will be reviewers that get these things. I hope that some of them do decide, let's just see what happens if we start doing, do eco mode kind of stuff. Because, I mean, for some tasks, that's what you need, is just a lot of cores. Video encoding is great from a lot of cores, so long as it is just straight encoding. When you're doing filters, then it can start becoming single-threaded. But yeah, I mean, it's just... And 24 cores is nice. 16 cores is very nice, is nice already, and I love it. So 24 cores, ooh, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun times for a lot of people in the next few months when these things go live and people can actually start building and working with them. All right, I have certainly blathered on enough. See you next time.